All right. Hello, Apparition in OA. Back to Yoigoshi. Last time, we finally got that action sequence that I've been waiting for. We got to see the friggin' badass future Mion, like, fighting everybody and, like, oh my god. I gotta say, the idea behind this arc is great, but the pacing has been kind of, I don't know, like, I just get that feeling like if we're more than halfway through this. There's probably maybe there's at most 5 more streams, including this one. At most, it's probably 4 or 3, I would say. Probably 4 actually. Left in Yoigoshi, and it feels like we're just now starting to really get into something. Like the whole, should we go back and forth to the to the main hall, and it's like just building up, and it's not like usual Higurashi. Like usual Higurashi is slow paced, but you're having fun during the slow paced. You're getting to know the characters, like they're having these crazy club games. You're slowly learning about the mystery of the town, but I don't know, here it just kind of felt like they were stalling for time. But now we're finally into this part of the story, and I can't wait to see where it goes. We're gonna see some badass Yakuza fights. All right, come on, I really want to see some badass Yakuza fights. All right, continuing. So, I forgot. Did I do the tips or? Damn it! Did I do these tips last time? I think I did. I did. Yeah, I remember the joint liability. Yeah, I did. Okay, so. Yep, let's get into the chapter. Okay. Absent-mindedly sitting on the tatami floor slowly calmed me down. My shirt was damp with sweat and humidity. What the hell happened just a little while ago? Little by little, the gears in my head started spinning. Sonozakis-san was sitting a short distance away, grooming the sword she has just used. Miyuki-chan was sitting next to Tawada-san like nothing had happened at all. Otobe still hadn't come back to his senses from the life-threatening shock we just experienced right now. He was breathing erratically, and it looked like he was waiting for someone to say something. Before long, Sonozaki-san was the first to open her mouth.
So.
That's right. I went looking for my car. But my car wasn't there. As soon as we heard that report, none of us could say anything. Hey, come on. Isn't that an awfully terrible thing to just come out and say? What do you mean? I mean it disappeared. I'm certain that I parked it somewhere not too far from the base of the steps leading to this shrine. Then what does that mean? That's what I'm trying to say. And maybe my car was deepened away. Again with the Oni Karkushi. No way. Sonozaki-san's laughter echoed throughout the quiet assembly hall. I didn't have a clue what Sonozaki-san was laughing about. Had she simply surrendered to despair? Or maybe she actually found enjoyment in the situation, being isolated from the outside world, with our lives on the line.
いい加減教えてくれたっていいだろ
Could you give me a proper answer?
あんた何なんだよ
What is it with you?
なんか俺たちに隠してることがあるんだろ
Are you hiding something from us?
さっきの奴らどういうことなんだよ
What about those guys from before? What's the deal with them?
知ってたから俺に銃なんか貸したんだろ
You must have known something. That's why you lent me this gun, right? I shouted in frustration, but Sonozaki-san remained silent and calmly listened to what I had to say. Her composure made me all the more irritated.
いい加減話してくれたっていいだろ
Can you give me a straight answer?
あんたが何者だかわかんねえけどとにかくあいつらはヤクザだよな
I still have no idea who you are, but those guys were Yakuza, weren't they?
そんでもって俺らはヤクザの抗争に巻き込まれたってことなんだろ
Have we gotten ourselves involved in a Yakuza conflict? Still frustrated, I tossed out the theory I came up with just a little while ago. I wasn't sure how close I was to the truth, but I played my cards anyway. I was at my limit. All our cars had vanished. Our retreat was cut off, and I wasn't the sort of person who could survive a night of life or death battle.
荒川は何の証拠があってそんなことを言ってるのかね
Ooh, wow, I'm glad I chose the Beatrice voice for you. Arakawa, do you have any evidence to back up that accusation? Honestly.
証拠だって
Evidence? I'm a journalist! I don't have evidence.
あのさ荒川
Anyway, Arakawa,
あんた疲れてんだよ
you look tired.
少し眠ったらどうだい
Why not get a little rest? The tenderness in Sonozaki's tone was grating. Wow, Arakawa, you are again doing so much to endear yourself to the audience, aren't you? What she meant by that was shut up. But that wasn't enough to convince me. The fear and confusion had driven my patience beyond the limit, and even though I was terrified of Sonozaki-san until a little while ago, I burst out yelling at her.
こっちはあんたのせいで命を落としかけてんだ
Our lives are in danger thanks to you!
説明くらいしてくれたっていいだろ
Doesn't that warrant an explanation?
なあみゆきちゃん
Right, Miyuki-chan?
ええ
Huh? Yeah, whatever, sure.
大体みゆきちゃんもそうだ
And that goes for you too, Miyuki-chan!
君も一体何を隠してるんだ
What on earth are you hiding from us?
本当にライターなのか君は
Are you actually a writer?
じゃあその銃はどう説明する気なんだよ
And how do you explain that gun? Miyuki-chan awkwardly looked down and scratched her head, then finished counting the number of bullets left in the magazine of her handgun, and let out a little sigh. Oh, I'm sorry, Jess. For what it's worth, you didn't miss too much. Arakawa was just yelling at all the likable characters, as always. She told me that she would explain later, but it looked like she had no interest in explaining right now. In fact, she seemed far more interested in determining how many bullets she had left.
なんなんだよ畜生
What is it, damn it!
いい加減隠し事はやめにしようぜ
Stop hiding things and give me a proper answer!
みんなもうちょっと協力的になれよ
Then we can all work together on this, alright?
隠し事があるのはお互い様なんじゃないのかい
Aren't you keeping secrets of your own? Huh? Sonozaki-san looked Otobe directly in the eyes as she said that. And when he noticed that, his shoulders slumped and he started to tremble. Come on, Otobe. Tell us the truth.
どういう意味だよ
Did you came here, he came here with those 3 other people. I wonder if he also wanted to kill himself. What do you mean?
ここにいる連中は みんな隠し事をしてる奴らばっかりってことさ。
Everyone in this room is keeping secrets.
ねえ、オトベ。
Right, Otobe?
僕は別に何も。
I'm not hiding anything. Sonozakis-san looked at all of our faces, one by one, to make sure. Miyuki-chan forced a smile as she slid the magazine into the handle of her gun. Tawada-san put a hand on her chest to still its beating. What is this? What's going on? Was everyone here keeping secrets?
あんただってそうなんだろう、荒川。
That goes for you too, right, Arakawa?
はあ？俺は何も隠してなんかいないぜ。
I'm not hiding anything, okay?
ほー。
She does the I can't forget, like, my god. She is really modeled after the Umineko cast, I gotta say. Oh god. Seriously. I just love older badass Mion so fucking much. Oh.
それじゃあ聞くけど、荒川。
Then let's hear it, Arakawa.
あんたこの村に何しに来たんだい？
Why did you come to this village?
何しにって。
Why did I come here?
俺はオカルトライターなんだぜ。
I'm an occult writer, didn't I tell you?
取材に決まってるだろうが。
I'm doing investigative reporting.
まあそうだろうね。
Well, that may be true.
あんたの隠し事が一番罪がないかもしれないね。
Your secret is probably the most innocent among all of us.
でもさ、あんたにはこの村でたたられるような理由、
I love
心当たりあるんだろ？
I love her lipstick. Seriously. Like, I just love how tired she looks, but like, she is just like done with everything. But she's also patient and like, oh god, this is probably one of my favorite sprites. Like, I gotta say, out of Higurashi Alchemist, my favorites, this is probably my favorite sprite. Out of all of Alchemist sprites that they ever did, for Higurashi, this one is amazing. I'll say second is Hanyu. I love the Alchemist Hanyu. But seriously, I love this sprite so goddamn much. But why do you know so much about the curse of this village? Right before my eyes, my hands started trembling restlessly. They struggled to maintain their grip on the plastic bottle I was holding. A cold sweat seeped out of my armpits as she said that. What? What was the meaning of that? No way. Could she know about that? How?
何言ってんだよ。
What are you saying?
俺には心当たりなんてねえよ。
I have no idea what you're talking about.
言いがかりはやめてくれ。
Stop throwing around false accusations. Sonozaki-san looked at me straight in the eye as I said that, like she was issuing me a challenge. But I couldn't endure it for more than a second, so I dodged it by taking a sip of the tea in hand.
なら言ってやるよ。
Then I'll say it.
あんたがひなみ沢にこだわる理由。
The reason you came to Hinamizawa
あんたの父親。ひなみ沢のやつにたたられて死んでんだろ？
is because your father was cursed by someone from Hinamizawa, and it ultimately killed him, right? I immediately dropped the plastic bottle. Wait, if it was plastic, then why did we hear a cup shattering sound? How does she know about that? The sound
図星だったようだね。
the sound design in this chapter is not exactly the best. It seems like they had 2 or 3 sound effects to work with. I guess I hit the nail on the head.
あんたの親父さん、園崎の娘や生き残った少年に一体何をしたのかね。
What happened between your father, the Sonozaki family's daughter, and the young boy who survived?
あんたが知らないとは言わせないよ。
I won't let you say you don't know. All right?
なんであんたがそれを。
Why are you bringing that up?
聞いているのはこっちさね。
Oh God, she's so badass. I'm the one asking questions here.
さあ、答えてみなよ。
Go on.
さあ、
Give me an answer. Well?
知らねえよそんなもん。
I don't know anything about that!
俺が知るわけねえだろ。
I don't!
ふーん。
Judging by the tone of Sonozaki-san's voice, I got the impression she enjoyed watching me get upset. I do too. I'm with Mion on this. I looked back at Sonozaki-san with a challenging gaze, but unfortunately I couldn't disguise my excessively labored breathing. Sonozaki-san's eyes had the stillness of a corpse. I'd never seen a person with eyes like that before. Honestly, it was uncanny. Well, that's not a very nice thing to say. Long ago, my father was a reporter for a weekly photo magazine. The fierce competition between rival magazines required intensive investigation in order to survive. Hello, Void Dweller. Welcome to the stream. And so, in 1983, my father interviewed a boy and a girl who were fortunate enough to survive the Hinamizawa gas disaster. The boy was the sole survivor of the school bombing incident perpetrated by another female student. Then, police brought him to the Okonomiya police station to hear his testimony about the incident. He spent the whole night there, which is why he survived the gas disaster the next day. However, he suffered intense mental trauma from losing his parents, classmates, and the entire village all at once, so the boy was hospitalized shortly thereafter. And though the girl lost her sister in the bombing incident, she escaped harm thanks to returning to her home in Okonomiya, but she was just as traumatized as the boy. So my father snuck into their hospitals and heavy-handedly coerced them into telling him their stories. But the boy died a few days after his interview. The cause of death was unknown, but I later heard he was killed by the curse. And not only that, but the contents of those interviews included eerie and mysterious predictions, which ultimately gave more weight to the curse theory. Shortly after that, my father had suffered mental instability. He was dismissed from one case after another, and in the end, he couldn't even write a coherent sentence, so they fired him. After that, he returned to his hometown and spent his days lazing about. Ultimately, he drowned to death just as the girl he interviewed prophesied. Right. That's right, I remember. I'm certain that the girl's last name was Sonozaki. So she must be a relative of this Mion Sonozaki. Many things happened after that. But in the end, my grandparents gave me my father's diary and interview materials. I took those bizarre and eerie materials and compiled them into a story about weird supernatural phenomena, then submitted it to the editorial department. The article garnered a surprisingly strong reception, and it had a bit of a surge in popularity once it got posted on some news sites online. That story caused the Hinamizawa's occult boom to catch fire, and finally earned me a name as an occult writer. Even though my father was the one who worked so hard to gather that intel, In reality, I was the one to benefit from it. In a sense, I received all the recognition that my father should have received, but that outcome couldn't be helped. I so wish I could do the fucking counter. But what happened to my father when he interviewed those people from Minamizawa? Who were those survivors my father spoke to? Even if it was none of my business, I absolutely wanted to know. So I had to figure out what my father was searching for, and that's why I decided to come to Hinamizawa today.
荒川さん、どういうことですか？
Arakawa-san. What do you mean?
もしかして僕たちは今荒川さんのお父さんがしたことの報いを受けているんですか？
Do you think we blame you for receiving the benefit of your father's work?
そんなはずあるわけねえだろ。
That's not it!
荒川さん、どうしたんですか？
Arakawa-san. What's wrong?
顔が真っ青ですよ。
You look so pale.
なんでもねえよ。
It's nothing. My heart was pulsing like an alarm bell, and no matter how many times I sipped from my oolong tea, my throat quickly dried up. I didn't want to say anything. And yet how? How did Sonozaki-san know about my father?
荒川さんのお父さん、一体何をしたんですか？
Arakawa-san. What on earth happened to your father?
まさかその人ってたたられてもおかしくないようなひどいことをしたんですか？
No way. Did the curse do something terrible to him?
そんなわけねえだろ。
That's not it! I turned to Otobe and said that to push him away. In doing so, I made it abundantly clear. I wanted to smack anyone who kept talking about it. There's a cover-up about his father's death, I bet.
それじゃ聞くけど、お前はどうなんだよ。
Now let me ask, what about you?
お前だって何か隠してるんじゃねえのか。
You're hiding something too, aren't you?
僕は
Me? I pointed my spear towards Otobe and let loose. Nervous, indecisive Otobe seemed like the easiest one to attack.
僕は別にたたられるようなことは何もないですよ。
I don't have anything to do with the curse.
本当か？
Seriously?
本当です。
Yes, really. Otobe turned his gaze downward and cut off the conversation, but it was clear to all of us that he was putting on an act. Exactly, yeah. You know what I was thinking of when he said spear away? It was that, you remember in Undertale during the true ending path when you're having the visit to Undyne's house, and she gives you a spear to point at things in the kitchen to what you want. That's exactly what I thought of. That's Jeez. That's what I was thinking of. Like, he was like complete with that sound effect, you know, like Otobe turned his gaze downward and cut off the conversation, but it was clear to all of us that he was putting on an act.
へえ。
Wow.
何ですか？
What?
それじゃあ聞くけど、これは何だい？
Then let me ask, what is this? Sonozaki-san thrust a single card right up to the tip of Otobe's nose, and it looked like it was a cash card. Otobe. Are you a relative of... Are you a relative of anyone named Nanju or Kumasawa? Otobe gasped and his eyes opened wide. Then he quickly checked his back pocket and turned towards the card once more. Otobe's face was starting to develop a twitch.
さっきあんたのその尻ポケットから落ちたんだよ。
This fell out of your back pocket a little while ago.
もう一度聞くよ。
I'll ask again.
これは誰のカードだ？
Whose card is this?
それは
That's...
この名義あんたの名前じゃないみたいだけどね。
This name here doesn't look like your name at all, does it?
堀千秋って書いてあるよ。
It says Chiaki Hori.
誰なんだい？この千秋って人は。
So, who is this Chiaki? I don't know, she's the ultimate gamer. Otobe nervously fidgeted as he gazed at the card. He reminded me of a small animal, standing face to face with his natural predator.
ねえ、説明しておくれよ。
So, explain yourself.
あんたのポケットから落ちたってのに、なんで乙部の名前じゃないんだい？
This thing fell out of your pocket, Otobe. So why did it have someone else's name written on it?
おい、乙部。
Hey, Otobe. Otobe's face turned completely pale. His heart was beating so hard it felt like I could hear it from the seat next to him. Sonozakis continued staring Otobe directly in the eyes and didn't look away for even a moment.
乙部、
Otobe,
あんた何を隠しているんだい？
what are you hiding?
僕は何も
Nothing.
そろそろ正直に言ったら？
Why don't you tell us the truth already?
あの時携帯を壊したのって
Like when your cell phone broke.
乙部くんだよね。
You broke it yourself, didn't you, Otobe-kun? Bit by bit, Miyuki-chan continued her verbal assault. Otobe reacted sharply and looked up after each comment.
どうして乙部くんの携帯だけ壊されたのかなってずっと気になってたんだけど。
All this time, I was wondering why Otobe-kun's phone was broken.
それは乙部くんのだけ通じるからだよね。
Was it because only Otobe-kun's phone could connect?
そういうことでいいんだよね。
If that's the case, then it's fine, right?
そうだと思います。
Yeah, that's what I think.
それじゃあちょっと聞きたいんだけど、
Then let me ask you this.
乙部くんの携帯本当に通じたのかな？
Otobe-kun, was your phone actually able to connect?
通じましたよ。
It was able to connect, okay?
何言ってるんですか？
What are you even saying?
あの時警察と話したの反町さんも聞いてましたよね。
I was talking to the police back then. You were listening, weren't you, sorry, Machi-san?
でもちょっと変じゃない？
But isn't that a bit strange?
だって園崎さんの携帯と乙部くんの携帯同機種なんでしょ？
Otobe-kun, your phone is the same model as Sonozaki-san's, right?
同じ機種なのにどうして乙部くんのだけが通じるの？
If they're the same, why was your phone the only one that could connect?
知りませんよ。
I don't know, I jailbroke it and, got better service.
それは個体差ってやつじゃないですか。
That might just be manufacturing variation, the series of tubes.
僕に言われてもそんな。
I've heard of things like that somewhere, some article I read, Facebook, I don't know.
そうなの。
Is that so?
でも本当にそんなことってあるのかな。
But is that really what this is? Yeah, exactly. The model of the phone doesn't matter for connection. What matters is your service provider. Maybe it's different in Japan, though, Maybe in Japan, like jailbreaking isn't even a thing. And this is 2006. So it's a flip phone. It's not a smartphone. Because those didn't exist yet. Otobe's lips were quivering. Miyuki-chan continued putting pressure on Otobe. Her ruthless assault even had me shivering. Otobe did his best to pretend he was still calm, but his attempt was woefully unsuccessful. His labored breathing echoed through the entire assembly room, filling the surrounding area with a tense atmosphere.
個体差はあると思いますよ。
I think it was because of manufacturing differences.
だって
And
だって
And what?
だってさっきは確かに通じたんです。
And I'm certain I was able to connect earlier.
たまたまアンテナが立ったんですよ。
The antenna just happened to show a signal.
僕にだってなんで通じたのかわかんないですけど。
Even I don't know why I was able to connect with Yoigoshi-sama. I don't know. Miyuki-chan took a deep breath. My initial impression of Miyuki-chan as a lively, earnest, cute girl was all but gone. Replaced with that was the vicious visage of a bird of prey, stalking a small, defenseless animal.
そういうこともあるのかもしれないね。
That may be true.
ですよね。
Right?
だから別に変でもなんでも。
So there's nothing all that weird about it. Otobe's forced smile had a light twitch to it. He must have misunderstood what Miyuki-chan... Oh, there's a big typo here. Was saying, and believed she was convinced. Or maybe he's just trying to tell himself that. However, Miyuki-chan wasn't about to let Otobe escape. In fact, she was luring him to the final stage.
ああ、そうそう。
Of course.
一ついいことを教えてあげる。
But let me tell you one more thing. Huh?
この村全域で県外なのよ。
This village is completely outside of the service area. Oh my god. She nailed him. Oh my god. Oh, Void Dweller, we're on the true ending path. There's still one more bad ending we haven't done, but Nagel, but apparently it overlaps a lot with the true ending path, and so when we get to a certain point, we can go back to it and skip over a lot of stuff, because it's basically it's very similar to the true ending path. No, the true ending is a good ending, Void Dweller. Oh god, here's where we get his Ace Attorney court breakdown. He's like da 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 da. I can't sing. Da 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 da.
こんな無人の村に中継機なんていらないもの。
It's an uninhabited village. There's no reason to have signal relays out here.
この村に元からあった中継機が反応したなんて言い訳はできないの？
Ah, you might be wondering how I can be so sure there are no relays in this village.
ここが封鎖されたのは昭和58年。
This whole area has been sealed off since 1983, dumbass!
その頃には携帯なんて使っている村人はいなかったからね。
Back then, none of the villagers would have had cell phones. And if they did, it would be those giant-ass 1980 cell phones.
そんな
No way!
そこまで最初から知ってたんならどうして
If you knew that from the start, then why?
正直に言ってくれるのを待ってたから。
I was waiting for you to come clean about it.
追い込むのって好きじゃないの。本当はね。
Honestly, I don't enjoy driving people into a corner like this. Despite I love the Phoenix Wright music that goes with it.
でももうそんな悠長なことも言っていられない。
But I couldn't keep quiet any longer.
じゃあ、もう一度確認します。
Now, let me ask you once more.
電話、通じてなかったんだよね。
Your phone wasn't actually able to connect, was it?
はい
That's right. That was all Otobe could say in response. Damn, this was straight up Phoenix Wright here for that right there. Otobe dejectedly bowed his head. That gesture was an admission of defeat.
すみませんでした
I'm sorry.
僕嘘をついてました
I lied to you all.
携帯は反町さんの言う通り僕のも繋がりませんでした
It's just as Surimachi-san says. My phone couldn't connect either.
繋がってるふりをしていただけです
I was just pretending to get through.
それじゃ通報したってのは
Then when you notified the police,
嘘です
that was a lie.
電話が通じているふりをしたんです
I was just pretending to talk on the phone. Otobe continued looking down as he said that, and thanks to that, his face looked like a misbehaving child.
通報したってのがそもそも嘘なんです
I lied about contacting the police.
ここを乗り切ればなんとかできるって
Why did you lie, Otobe? That's what we really need to know. But if we make it out of this, we can do something, so...
おいおいちょっと待てよ
Wait, hold on!
それじゃそのキャッシュカードは本当にお前が盗んだもんなのか
Does that mean you actually stole that cash card?
はい
Yes.
お前
You!
すみませんでした
Sorry.
せめてお金を下ろすまでは警察に知られたくなくて
He probably saw that his friends died and took the money because, you know, they weren't going to use it, but I could see that. He was probably really hard up on cash. He was probably like, maybe he's in debt or something. I didn't want the police involved until after I got the money.
だから携帯を壊したってのか
That's why you broke your phone? But don't you realize that you'd have to buy a new phone?
はい
Right.
僕の携帯も繋がらないってことをバレるのが怖くなって
I was afraid someone might notice that my phone couldn't connect.
それでもう隠し通せないと思って
If that happened, I wouldn't be able to hide any longer.
隠しているのはそれだけじゃないでしょ。
Is that the only thing you're hiding from us? Yeah, not back then, OA. A Void Dweller, I couldn't read that. It's like, she's like, why would you lie about something so serious? When we get home, no Halo Reach or we for an entire year. And then Otobe's like, oh man, god damn it, busted.
キャッシュカードをどこで盗んだの？
Where did you get that cash card from?
もう隠し事はやめようよ。
No more secrets. They might have Void Dweller. I think they did. I think that. Actually, no. Halo Reach was not in 2006 because I know that Halo 3 was released in 2007. I'm fairly sure. Wasn't it? Like, I'm pretty sure it was. 2007 was Halo 3. So yeah, no Halo Reach, and so that. Damn it, we didn't get the timeline right. Fuck. Oh well. Otobe drooped even further down as Miyuki-chan asked that in a scathing tone. He drooped more and more until he couldn't go any further.
Otobe, 全部話しちまいなよ。
Otobe, tell us everything.
あんたがどうしてそんなにビクビク怯えてばっかりなのかさ。
What are you so frightened about?
それは
Well,
僕は
Otobe, you're not Maria. Well, I was... After a long pause, Otobe started saying, I'm sorry, over and over. That sound echoed miserably here and there, with some sobbing mixed in.
ごめんなさいごめんなさいごめんなさい
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
だから何がごめんなさいなんだよ。
So what are you sorry about?
僕は最低です
I'm the worst.
どうしようもないダメなやつなんです
It can't be helped. I'm a terrible human being. Huge tears started accumulating in Otobe's eyes and spilling to the ground. Sonozaki-san gently stroked his trembling shoulder, then urged him on a voice filled with tenderness, as deep as the ocean.
何があったか
Oh
話してもらえ
my God, she is so amazing. Tell us, what happened?
はい
Okay.
僕が東京に出てきたのは去年の春でした
It started in the spring of last year, when I came to Tokyo. Otobe quietly began talking about his past. I never thought of myself as the kind of person who would stay in the countryside forever. My father was a government worker and my mother was a housewife. Everyone in the area was acquainted with everyone else. When it comes to forming strong human relationships, there is one value that is absolutely essential to survive. Survival. Cooperation. Yeah, Jess, it's just that... It's funny because when Mion is not overshadowed by Rena, she is truly allowed to shine. Like, I'm telling you, if Rena didn't exist, Mion would be best girl by a mile. But because Rena exists, it's like she just steals the spotlight from her so hard. And so does Shion. But we're having a story here where Mion is just on her own, no Rena, No Shion to constantly push her out of the spotlight and steal all her glory and be badass. It's like there were so few opportunities in the basic Higurashi for Mion to shine, which is just a big shame. I think, because she was clearly a great character who just, and it's a shame just because of how long Higurashi was, and Ryukishi just couldn't squeeze in the time to give Mion some proper spotlight until just maybe some big moments in Matsuribayashi. That's probably one of my major gripes about Higurashi. That and the plot hole with concerning following Tomitake. When it comes to forming strong human relationships, there is one value. Oh yeah, I already read that. I was worried I'd spend the rest of my life in such a tiny world, so I felt desperate. I couldn't see anything in my future. No dreams to aspire to. My father tried to get me a job at a local company, but I hated it. I figured I could probably work things out if I went to Tokyo. So I poured my heart and soul into studying. Then took the Tokyo University entrance exam.
アキラ、東京なんか行ったってあんたみたいな田舎者は相手にされないよ。
Jess, you know the plot hole I'm talking about, right? With Hanyu? With Hanyu and Tomitake. That, I hate that it's never addressed once. It would literally take one line to address. And Matsuribayashi is such a huge story. And so is Minagoroshi. And I just can't get over the fact that not even one line was taken to address that plot hole. Honestly, I hope in the Higurashi remake anime, if they hopefully get that far, I really hope they address it. Akira, country folk like you would... Oh, you know what? I'll give her the KDA voice. Akira, honey child. Country folk like y'all won't be able to get by in Tokyo.
地元で地道に働いて真面目なお嫁さんを見つけて可愛い孫をいっぱい作って父さんを喜ばせてやんな。
Please, get a job around here, find a wife to settle down with, and make lots of cute grandchildren to make your father happy.
そういう生き方って僕には向いてないと思うんだ。
I don't think that way of living is right for me.
アキラ、
Akira,
決めたんだ。
I've already decided.
受かったら僕、東京の大学に進学する。
If I get accepted to a school in Tokyo, I'm going.
もしも受かんなかったら、その時は地元で母さんの言う通りにするからさ。
But if I don't get in, then I'll stay here, just like you asked. And then I got accepted. It was some university I'd never heard of. But it was a college in Tokyo, so that was good enough for me.
受かったんなら母さんは応援するよ。
Exactly, Jess. Exactly. I just don't understand why Rika never thought of that. And it just... Or even Hanyu never thought of that. Like, it just... If y'all really did get accepted, then y'all have my support.
しっかりやってきなさいよ。
So, do your best. Even though I expected my mother to be opposed, for some reason, she was pleased. Although I intended to work to pay my tuition, my father taught my mother... What the fuck am I saying? My father. My mother talked to my father about it, and in the end they decided to pay for my tuition and living expenses. Oh, wow, that is so sweet of them.
し
Jeez.
っかり勉強してこい。
Study hard.
一生に一度くらい地元を離れてみるのもいいかもしれんしな。
It's probably for the best to venture out of the local area once in your lifetime. To be honest, I couldn't believe my father would say something like that. But they had a good reason for supporting me. I understood that. My parents were convinced I'd return to the country in the future. Jess, I'm definitely going to be doing Miyotsukushi, but after all the other console arcs. And it might get interrupted by the release of Syconia Phase 2, because that's going to take precedence. My parents were convinced I would return to the country in the future. Traveling to Tokyo was just a momentary event. Just a little longer than a vacation. That way of thinking was what allowed them to send me off. The money my parents gave me was like a chain shackled to my ankle, a debt to be repaid. Oh wow, this is relatable. They saw it as an investment, so that I'd be forced to return to the countryside right away if they were to ever take it away. But I wouldn't stand for that. I had no intention of ever going back there. I intended to plant my roots in Tokyo once I got out of college.
アキラ、しっかり勉強してくるのよ。
Higurashi, study hard, sweetheart.
早く一人前になって父さんに楽をさせてやんなさいよ。
Make a man of yourself, quickly, and make your father happy.
今まで世話になりました。
Thanks for looking after me until now.
母さん、元気で。
Take care, Mom. I gotta say, I'm enjoying this stream of Yoigoshi way more than I have the past few.
アキラ、何堅苦しいこと言ってんのよ。
Akira, what are y'all talking about?
とにかく東京はいろいろ大変だろうけど頑張んなさいよ。
Anyway, I'm sure life in Tokyo will be tough, so work hard out there.
言われなくても頑張るよ。
You don't have to tell me to work hard.
じゃあね、母さん。
See you later, Mom. Mom came all the way out to the local station to see me off, but I coldly sent her away. The countryside, my parents, I cast them all aside. I took my first step towards my ambitions. Everything in Tokyo felt fresh. Unlike high school, I didn't have to go to class early in the morning. Yet that is like one of the best things about college. They offered lectures in the afternoon and the evening, and it was easy to skip class and have a classmate answer the roll call in my place. Yep, I already did phase 1, and I gotta, Jess, if you want to look at my Syconia phase 1s, after the 4th video, they're in a private playlist, but you can access it from the description of the last Syconia video, just to say. You know, because you'll see there's a big how to do about that. The reason why is in the description. The city was nothing like how my parents complained about it. Instead, it was full of fashionably dressed girls and classmates who felt far more worldly than me. And there were trendy shops and amusement districts. Though I didn't have to pay for tuition, I did start working at a part-time job to help cover my living expenses. Every day I'd wake up around noon, spend some time at the university, then work my part-time job until the evening. Oh, not of this video, Void Dweller, of the description of the 4th Syconia stream, but OA just posted the link there. My co-workers taught me all kinds of things. how to drink, how to dance at clubs, how to ask girls out. After spending time with them, I started to develop an inferiority complex compared to my classmates. I felt like a child. My co-workers introduced me to all kinds of girls. Shortly after starting college, I began going out with a girl living in the Aoyama luxury apartment complex. She had a long, slender neck like a giraffe. That's not funny. That's not a very nice thing to say, Otobe. Seriously, that's not a very nice thing to say about somebody. Oh, you have a giraffe neck. Yeah, that's what every girl wants to hear. She dressed to match cutting-edge trends and wore lots of expensive accessories. She felt like a real Tokyo girl, and I liked that about her. But she was an expensive girl. She worked at a cabaret club, so she brought in far more income than me. But she never opened her wallet for anything. Meals and entertainment were always on me. I believe that's a man's responsibility. God damn it, Otobe. What happened to leaving the country behind? Shopping was one of her favorite pastimes, so I'd buy something for her anytime we went anywhere together. I bought her all kinds of matching clothes. I was surprised to learn they even made t-shirts that cost 50,000 yen a piece. Yep, $50 t-shirt, or $500. My God! What kind of school did you go to? Yeah, Jess, yeah. Yeah, Mion does tend to get overshadowed, but that still doesn't mean that she can't help fight back. And Rika doesn't either in Minagodoshi and Matsurebayashi, but Rika, who was barely there except for child Rika in Himatsubushi, who was very much a very backgroundy side character. She got tons of development and likability and everything in Minagodoshi and Matsurebayashi, enough to become one of a fan favorite character because she had such a strong personality and was so involved with events. But she shot up into my top 3, honestly. And after Minagodoshi. But Mion, just never got that kind of opportunity. But I was also back to the story. Anyway, sorry, you guys. That's what happens. I spend a lot of time talking to y'all in the chat, but you know what? I like that. Although kind of, it's not too fun in the rewatch, but let's keep going. But I was also impressed that there were people in Tokyo who could drop 50,000 yen on something like that. And she bought those expensive t-shirts without a second thought. She said she wanted me to wear it, so I bought one for myself too. I thought about how these flimsy t-shirts could cost 50,000, and my heart ached to know that an entire week's worth of pay would go to a single t-shirt. The store clerk recommended some cool-looking clothes that matched the t-shirt, so I even bought some jeans and a sweater to go along with it. Since my feet were in the door, I bought some matching boots too. Combined with the jeans, t-shirt, and sweater, I became 300,000 yen! Oh my God, Otobe, what the fuck are you doing? When I pulled out my wallet for all those clothes, I noticed it looked shabby too. So she and I went to a discount shop and bought a brand name leather watch. Oh God. And then I noticed how much my worn out cheap watch illustrated my meager upbringing. I was prepared to dive in head first by that point, so I bought a brand name watch from a pawn shop. I felt 2 or 3 times as cool anytime I was around her. Oh God. I felt like I was being reborn and it felt good. I was no longer that pathetic Akira Otobe who was harassed by his friends and always fought with his parents. Oh God, Otobe. Well, if they're harassing you, I don't think they're your friends. I was a completely new Akira Otobe, full of youthful freedom, who took cute girls and cute cool clothes in the constantly changing world of Tokyo. That's what I wanted to be. I ended up going to school less and less often. I stopped talking to my classmates and spent more time with my co-workers. And when I did occasionally go to class, I had no idea what any of it meant, and I no longer had friends to ask questions. I didn't enter college to study in the first place, so I finally stopped going to school at all. Oh, God. However, living above my means was really hard. No matter how much I worked, how much I spent on clothes, how much I treated myself to luxurious meals and kept up appearances, somewhere deep down I still felt empty. In order to fill that void, I kept spending time with her, and I kept earning money at my part-time job. Oh my God, I bet he went into crime. In order to be the Akira Otobe I wanted to be, I needed money. Oh no. He is in debt! Oh God. It didn't take long before I started taking out small loans to get the money for these activities. My parents transferred money each month to pay for rent, but I started using that to pay for the debts that were piling up left and right. I'd accumulated debts 10 times that amount. I even borrowed money to pay my debts.
君の人間性を信じて無担保で100万円貸してあげますよ。
I believe in you. So I'll offer you a loan of 1 million yen with no collateral.
でも言っときますけど、こういうことは今回だけですからね。
That doesn't sound like what a loan shark would say. With no collateral, really? Oh my God, it's a small loan of 1 million yen. Oh my God, Point Dweller, that was amazing. Well, let me just say, this is a one-time thing.
君だからこそ貸すんです。
I'm only doing this loan for you.
君は根は真面目で才能もあるんだから。
Because you're diligent and talented.
君なら返せると思うから、これだけの金を無担保で貸すんです。
I'm lending it without collateral because I believe you'll be able to repay it.
君だからこそ。
This is just for you. Oh God. Invited by those sweet words, I turned to street money and black market lending. The compound interest continued to accumulate, and the outcome was inevitable. I fled the apartment I was living in under the cover of night. I lost contact with my girlfriend right around that time. Eventually, collections agents started coming to my school and part-time job, so I had no choice but to find a new job. I know, Void Dweller. That's why it's a funny joke. I cycled through several jobs after that. I couldn't work in a single place for long, or the collections agents would find me. I didn't have a place to call my own, so I couldn't make friends at work either. Nobody was interested in talking to a debt-ridden person like me in the first place. But even if I worked morning until night and only spent the rest of my time sleeping, I couldn't raise more than 300,000 yen in a month. There was nothing I could do to keep up with the interest compounding each month, much less make payments toward the principal. Oh my God. No matter how hard I worked, and even with a wage increase of 10 yen per hour, it did little to reduce my debt. So I calculated how long it would take to repay my debt, living like this. 70 years. I couldn't go back to college. I wasn't able to attend a single class, so I couldn't get any credit. If I leave the university, I won't be able to find a job. It's not impossible to get a proper job as a high school graduate, but it had already been so long since I graduated that I couldn't do it. There's no way to explain that gap after entering college. And even if I could get a real job, collections agents would show up there and ruin it soon enough. I couldn't talk to my parents. My parents would be shocked, outraged, and abusive. In the end, they'd forsake me. My father would beat me and my mother would coldly watch. They'd shout, "We believed in you," with tears in their eyes. It was plain to see what would happen back at home. I didn't want to go back to the countryside. In other words, I had no choice but to live my lifetime between part-time jobs, paying just 800 yen per hour. And I'll spend an entire lifetime trying to repay a debt that can't be repaid in a lifetime. Full of vain effort until I can work no longer. I rented a tiny 4.5 tatami-sized apartment as I awaited that inevitable outcome. I closed the curtains and would peer out the window to make sure there weren't any collections agents between here and the convenience store 30 meters away. I couldn't go shopping if collections agents were out there. I'd keep quiet and spend the rest of the day at home. And traveling more than 30 meters away was out of the question. There was a risk I'd get kidnapped if the collections agents found me. I even hesitated to step out of my apartment to take the trash out, in fear of collections agents wandering around. Then I finally realized my life had reached a deadlock. I still had the same cell phone number, but I had no desire to check the incoming messages. More than 20 messages arrived on the answering machine every day.
お金貸すとき、生命保険に入ってもらったよね。
You received life insurance when you borrowed this money, you know.
ご遺族には迷惑がかからないようにするからさ。
That way you won't be a burden to your bereaved family.
意味、わかるでしょ?
You understand what I'm saying? Yep. Damn. I just invent the Yakupo voice and right away I found a new place to use it.
いつまでも逃げられると思うなよ。
Do you think you can keep running forever?
とりあえずさ、連絡くれない?
For now, why not contact me?
いい稼ぎ先紹介するよ。
I can introduce you to a good source of income.
黙って言う通りにしてくれるだけで、うちの利子はチャラになるからさ。
If you speak to me, I can have the interest on your debt forgiven.
利子だけだけど。
Only the interest, though.
もしもし、アキラ？
Hello, Akira! That was my girlfriend's voice.
ご無沙汰。
It's been a long time.
久しぶりにアキラが住んでたマンションに行ってみたけど、なんか怖い人がうろうろしてて全然近寄れないよ。
Like, I went to your apartment for the first time in a while, but like some scary people were wandering around, so like I couldn't totally get close.
どうなってんの?
Like, what's even going on? I didn't detect a hint of concern about me in her voice. She probably found a new boyfriend after she got sick of me, but she got sick of him too, and that's why she's calling me. I had a feeling that was the case. Friends are disposable. I remember her saying that once before. She goes out with people when they're convenient for her and replaces... Oh, there's another typo here. It should be replaces them as soon as they become inconvenient. According to her, we live in an ever-changing era, so there's no way to know who might drop out of your life or when. You have to keep a watchful eye to ensure the people who are left behind don't hold you back. In order to avoid falling victim to bad situations, it's important to always check the people you deal with to ensure they're worth keeping in touch with.
いろいろ大変そうだけど、頑張ってね。
It seems like you've had a lot of troubles, but do your best!
じゃあね。
See ya! Click. Beep, beep, beep. That was all she said in her message. There were scary people wandering around my apartment, but otherwise she was fine. There was no sign of her reaching out a helping hand. Something bad happened, so it's best to keep her distance. That was the conclusion she reached. In other words, she was cutting me off entirely. I had already served my purpose. As far as she was concerned, I was just dead weight. Come on, Otobe, you gotta pull your devil trigger! Get through this. Even though the two of us went to all those places together, even though we walked through all those places together holding hands, I clenched at one of those 50,000 yen t-shirts I only bought because it matched hers. You should sell it. 50,000 yen for this? Is that the price of this lifestyle? And I admired her for that? I held the t-shirt against my face and sobbed. I felt miserable and ashamed, but all I could do was cry. Deep down, I realized that I had wasted my life on meaningless things. As I continued sobbing, I pressed the play button on the answering machine once more.
Akira, 友達が金貸せるかもって言ってるけど、どうする?
Akira, I have a friend willing to lend you some money. What do you think?
利子ちょっと高いけど。
The interest is a bit steep, though. God damn it, friend! This is exactly how I got into this position!
KC スポーツクラブですが、会費が3ヶ月分未納となりましたため、大会手続きを取らせていただきました。
This is KC Sports Club. Since your membership fee hasn't been paid for 3 months, we've had to cancel your membership.
未納分につきましては、
Regarding your unpaid balance,
加賀大学事務局ですが、次期履修予定表が未提出になっています。
This is the Kaga University staff office. You still haven't filed your schedule for the upcoming semester.
至急大学へ。
Please come into the university at your earliest convenience.
居酒屋100万石の店長やけど、お前もう混んでええわ。
This is the store manager of the Million Stones Tavern. And I need you to come in already.
無断欠勤はうちは速攻でクビなんや。
On account of your chronic unannounced absences, you're fired.
てめえ、世間を舐めたらあかんで。
You really need to get your shit together.
None of it mattered. These were people I thought I was close to, people I respected, people I believed would offer help if I was in trouble, but every one of them turned their noses up at me. The reality of that was difficult to bear alone. But it couldn't be helped. I brought this on myself. This is the price of the selfish life I've been living. No one will ever lend a helping hand to someone like me. Everyone will look down on me for putting up a fake friend. I pushed everyone away, so I don't have any friends left. And then the last message on the answering machine was,
アキラ元気でやってるの
Oh God. Akira, are y'all doing well? It was a familiar voice.
母さん。
Mom,
電話はつながらないし、手紙を出しても戻ってきちゃうし。
I can't get a hold of y'all on the phone. And all the letters I sent y'all got sent back.
あんた元気でやってるの
Are y'all doing all right? Oh God. My chest tightened. What, after all this time? I kept gazing at the flashing button on the answering machine. I should have been disgusted to hear my mom's voice. And as soon as I did, tears came overflowing, even though I despised so many things about my mom. What is this? Why am I crying? Mom always tried to do whatever Dad wanted, and she was really good at reading his mood. So Mom would always try to control me to meet Dad's whim. Say this to improve my dad's mood, do that to make dad happy, but don't do anything he wouldn't like. My father said that men had no use for literature, so he only ever bought me scientific journals. Even though I liked geography, my father believed that history was more important, so he forced me to learn Japanese history. Damn, oh, the father is an asshole. So he said that music wasn't suitable for men, so I had to abandon the woodwind concert ensemble I went to Anderson's elementary school. In the end, I joined the kendo club, but it didn't suit me at all. I just wasn't very good, so my other upperclassmen bullied me over my lack of drive to improve. I lost all my self-confidence, so I started acting more timid and distancing myself from my classmates. The boys made fun of me all the time, and the girls constantly giggled at me behind my back. Oh God, Dear You is playing. Oh God. Yeah, I still remember those miserable days in the countryside. No wonder why he wanted to leave so badly. His dad was an asshole. Oh God. Basically ruined his fucking life. Oh God. I don't want to go back there ever again. But I can't stay here either. I have nowhere to go.
父さんは電話なんかしなくていいって言ってたけど、やっぱり気になるからちょっとだけ。
Your father told me not to call y'all, but I was just feeling a bit concerned.
ねえ、東京はどう？
So, how is Tokyo?
真面目に勉強してるの？
Working hard on your studies.
たまにはあんたの声聞かせてちょうだいよ。
Oh God! Oh my God! It would be nice to hear y'all voice once in a while. Oh God! Oh my God! Jeez. Damn. Yoigoshi just suddenly shot up a lot in my books. I gotta say, this section I've been reading now, like starting with the big battle between Mion and the Yakuza, and this whole section right here has been amazing. It took a while for it to get going, but I think this is really awesome. See, now this is what I was talking about. Like, we didn't need freaking 6 hours of freaking Arakawa going back and forth between the house and the road, and the house and the car, going back and forth, back and forth, back, like, and nothing getting fucking done. This is awesome. Can I call them? No matter why she called, I decided it was best not to tell her about how I was feeling.
あんたの夢ってのが何なのか母さんにはわからないけど
I may not understand your dreams, but
頑張んなさいよ
please do your best.
あんた頑張ればできるんだから
Y'all can do it if you give it your all.
母さんはいつでもあんたの味方よ
I'll always be there for you. Oh God. How fitting is that? For anyone who reads Umineko. How fitting is that right there? That is very fitting. That can't be true. Even though I thought that, I still want to believe in my mother's love. Mom will always be there for me. Is that really true? Was she actually trying to encourage me? Then please help me, Mom. I don't know what to do and it's painful. Please help.
父さんはまだあんたのこと怒ってるけど
Your father's still a bit upset with y'all.
ちゃんとしたあんたを見たらきっと認めてくれるはずだからさ
Oh. But I'm sure he'd accept you if he could see you living a respectable life.
頑張ってねアキラ
Do your best, Akira. Do you remember what means in terms of Maria Inumineko.
メッセージは以上です。もう一度聞くには1を、
Message
保存するには
Message complete. To listen again, press 1. To save. I erased all the messages and stared at the phone. My vision was fogged over with tears. If he could see me living a respectable life, it was no longer possible for me to live a proper life. Where did I go wrong? What was it I wanted? I felt so miserable, I truly wanted to die. Oh God. I thought I was special. I didn't have a dream or concrete something to work towards, but I swore back then I would try my best. But I never found an opportunity like that. When I first came to Tokyo, I felt like I was reborn as a different person. I was completely ecstatic. Somewhere deep in my heart, I realized I was living a depraved life, but I thought I could pay back the money I borrowed if I could find something to be passionate about. But I wasn't someone special. I couldn't find anything to be passionate about. Do your best, Akira. Mom's words echoed inside my ears. Mom. I can't go back now. And I can't go forward either. Thinking that and feeling completely helpless, I stepped outside for the first time in ages and felt the raindrops strike me. That was when I realized. So I opened the internet and searched for a specific site. Okay, some random 2chan, I guess, trip codes here. Did you see the issue of the Weekly 7? He mentioned it's an occult spot called Hinamizawa Village. I don't think they'd find us in a place like that. What do you think? The hell's going on? Sorry, just hearing some random tapping in the house. Kind of odd. Hold on one second. Oh God, I hope we don't have rats or some shit like that. That would really be scary. Oh boy. Okay. I've read the Weekly 7. Sounds good. He mentioned the gas disaster happened in June. So there should be fewer people around then. How about the second Monday in June? If you can, I'm sure the weather will be nice. I hope it'll go well this time. Is it okay to do this with just 3 people? Somewhere out there, I felt something resembling human warmth. When I noticed that, I wrote too. Oh, I thought Akun was him. Okay, because Akira, Otobe. Okay, damn. Okay. I'd like to come too. Looking forward to it. I let out a huge sigh after writing that. They were all going to commit suicide together, weren't they? Death would be more appropriate for someone like me. I no longer cared about being alive.
そうして集まった仲間は3人。
Oh my God.
And so I gathered together with 3 like-minded people.
僕を入れて4人でひなみ沢村で一緒に死のうということになりました。
The 4 of us decided we wanted to die together in Hinamizawa.
One of the lights in the assembly hall started to flicker erratically. Nevertheless, Otobe completely ignored the light bulb and continued his story.
しかし参るよな。
So you gave in.
俺の書いた特集が自殺場所を決める決定打になるなんてよ。
My article was what made you decide where to commit suicide?
やりきれないぜ。
That's heartbreaking.
God damn it, Arakawa, could you think of other people for 1 second?
すみません。
I'm sorry.
それじゃもしかして。
Anyway, is there any chance
あの3人が乗っていた車にお前も乗ってたのかよ。
that those 3 people were the ones who drove you here?
はい。
Yeah.
Otobe continued drooping apologetically as he nodded to me.
死にに来たのに変な言い方かもしれないですけど、
This might be a strange thing to say, but even though I came here to die,
僕楽しかったんです。
I was having fun.
は？
Huh?
みんないい人ばっかりだったんです。
Everyone was so nice.
今日、いえ、日付が変わったから、もう昨日。
Today, well, the date has already changed, so yesterday.
とにかく昨日初めて会ったのに、ずいぶん前から友達同士だったみたいな気がしたんです。
Anyway, even though I only met these people for the first time yesterday, they felt like they've been my friends for a long time.
Otobe began speaking once more. And nobody tried to interrupt him, thank God. The sky was nice and blue that day, just like Machi-chan wanted. We all lived fairly far apart, so in the end we decided to meet at Tokyo Station. The first time I came to Tokyo Station back in last spring was when I felt my first taste of the city. Businessmen dressed in fancy suits and gorgeous office ladies that looked like they belonged in magazines or hanging out at exotic foreign coffee shops, and the station was surrounded by tall, stylish buildings. The clamor of people was like the omnipresent background noise of an urban area. But now I was able to recognize that every last one of them had no bearing on my life. Back then everything was shining bright, but now it looked all so dingy. All the things I once longed for were ostentatious phonies.
はじめまして、あっくんこと芥川です。
Okay, yeah, that's why I got confused. I thought Akun was Akira Otobe, but no. Okay.
Nice to meet you. I'm the user called Akun. My name is Akuragawa.
Akun, huh? The man smiling and bowing his head in front of the car was surprisingly a man roughly in his 40s. He had a gentlemanly aura, like all the businessmen from around here. A man like him wants to commit suicide. I couldn't hide my surprise.
マチことマチコです。
And not Machi, short for Machiko.
短いお付き合いだけどマチって呼んでね。
We haven't known for each other for very long, but please feel free to call me Machi. Machi-chan looked like she was still in her teens. She was wearing really pretty makeup, but she was probably still in high school. Her skin was shiny, and she had a miniskirt stretched across her slender legs. She seemed like a perfectly normal girl, the likes of which you find anywhere. Why would a girl like her?
私は千秋。
I'm Chiaki.
本当の名前も千秋で、ハンドルネームと一緒なの。
Chiaki is actually really my real name, and my online handle too, I think. Chiaki-san bashfully said that. She was a beautiful woman in her late 20s. She had a gentle demeanor and gave off the atmosphere of someone living a wealthy lifestyle. She was dressed in nicely tailored clothes like me, but her elegance and dignity were out of this world. She felt like a platinum level, truly refined lady.
どうも。僕がOtobe。
Nice to meet you. I'm Otobe.
Otobe です。
Otobe is my real name.
All of these guys did. All of them. Void Dweller. As I bowed my head, I struggled to believe the collection of people gathered here.
そんなに不安がらなくても大丈夫だよ、Otobe君。
You look nervous, but don't worry, Otobe-kun.
みんな死ぬのは初めてなんだ。
After all, this is everyone's first time dying.
Akutagawa-san could tell I was feeling nervous, so he gave me a reassuring smile as he said that. He thinks I'm afraid to die, but the truth is I'm not scared at all. The fact that I was going to die soon actually had me feeling excited. I was feeling more stressed about my first real-life meeting with my internet friends. I'm going to change the title of this stream because it is clearly not, again, like, that's the trouble, because I just want it to actually match what's in the freaking episode. I was feeling more stressed about, I did read that. I was about to get into a car with strangers and go somewhere, but I was happy to be going with other people rather than on my own. Eventually, the car took off with the Kutagawa-san behind the wheel. I took the passenger seat and the ladies were in the back seats. What are you talking about, Void Dweller? Yes, there's been a temporary ceasefire in the Yakuza war. I don't deserve any clout, Void Dweller. Jeez. I am just an amateur wannabe voice actor who loves reading visual novels. And I love reading it out loud to y'all too. So I just hope you're enjoying yourselves, you know? Having a good time, because I am. Even though this is a very, very sad and depressing story right now. Even though I was in the passenger seat, I ducked my head down to avoid being spotted. By any debt collectors who might be looking at the car. I was able to raise my head and feel some peace of mind after the car got up to a decent speed. Chiaki-san held out some sweets to me.
よかったら食べて。
Would you like one?
うちの近所のパティスリーのなんだけど、結構美味しいのよ。
Oh, okay, Void Dweller, I see. They're from my local bakery and they're quite delicious.
どうも。
Thanks.
The candy was full of butter and brandy, very tasty. The flavor itself was great, of course, but it was a nice feeling too. Sharing something tasty with someone else. Look at this, a brand new background. This is awesome. This background right here. That alone was enough to remind me what it was like to experience happiness.
私もチョコだけどいいかな。
I bought something too. Care for a chocolate? I received a chocolate from Machi-chan. It must have been foreign chocolate because the package was in English. It looked nice and sticky on the inside too. This was the first time I ever tasted chocolate like that.
すっごく甘いでしょ。
It's so sweet, huh?
でも食べるとハマっちゃうんだよね。
But there's no way I could eat it all.
安かったから箱買いしちゃったんだ。
I bought a whole box because it was on sale.
そうしたらすっごく余っちゃって。
But it ended up being way too much.
もう一個どう？
Care for another? Machi-chan said that gleefully and handed me another. Her smile was bright and carefree. I never thought someone could smile that earnestly about eating junk food.
いい天気だね。
This is some great weather, huh?
晴れてよかった。
Nice and sunny.
最後の日だから、お天気くらいせめて味方してほしいよね。
This is our last day, so I hope the weather stays like this.
Once he said that, I remembered we were on our way to die. It didn't feel real. I fiddled with my phone. No incoming calls today. Do your best, Akira. Mom's voice echoed inside my ears again. I hadn't received a call from my parents since then, and of course I didn't have the courage to call them back. Do your best, Akira. If she had said please come home instead of do your best back then.
そんなに携帯が気になるのかい?
Are you that concerned about your phone?
After playing with my phone in the passenger seat all this time, Okudogawa-san called out to me.
いえ、
No.
最後に声を聞きたい人がいるのなら電話してみれば?
If there's someone out there you'd like to hear one last time, why not give them a call?
いいんです。
That's okay.
そんな人いないし。
I don't have anyone like that.
そう?
Really?
時間はまだあるんだから気にしなくてもいいのよ。
You still have time. There's no need to worry.
大丈夫です。
I'm fine.
本当に、もう。
Really? That's all?
I powered off my cell phone. Eventually, the car pulled into Shishibone City and began climbing the mountain road.
そろそろだね。
It's almost time.
Machi-chan reapplied her mascara and touched up her lipstick. Her face looked radiant, like she was all set for a date with her lover. After arriving in Hinamizawa, we parked the car in a suitable location and started making preparations. Even up until this point, it felt like a fun group project.
幽霊出ないね。
No ghosts, huh?
死者の村って言うからちょっと期待したのにな。
They called this the village of the dead, so I expected something more.
死んだ家族に会えるかもって。
I was hoping to see my dead family.
でもどっちみちもうすぐ会えるんだけどね。
But anyway, I'll be able to see them soon enough.
家族死んじゃったんですか?
Your family is dead?
Yeah.
After that one word from Machi-chan, everyone began sharing their personal stories. I was surprised to hear it. Everyone had their own tragic episodes that drove them to suicide. Machi-chan lost her entire family. Akudogawa-san was saddled with the dead of others. Chiaki-san lost her husband. A lot of them did everything in their power to keep going before turning to suicide. I, on the other hand, I was full of myself and did whatever I liked. I just fooled around for my own satisfaction and suffered the consequences of my actions. I was ashamed. Honestly, I was so ashamed.
夫にもっとしてあげられることがあったんじゃないかって今日までずっと思っていたの。
I thought I'd keep going without my husband. Even today I thought that.
一番大切な時期にそばにいてあげられなくてごめんなさいってどうしても伝えたい。
I want to tell him by any means necessary. I want to apologize for not being by his side at the most precious of times.
どれだけお金を稼いでも使えなかったら意味がないものね。
It doesn't matter how much money you earn. It's pointless if you never have a chance to spend it.
Chiaki-san reached into her handbag as she said that.
あの人が事業で成功して得たものよ。
Oh, there's a big typo here. Just remove the word at, and it should be fine.
This is what he gained from all his tireless work.
私にはもう必要ないから
I don't need it anymore.
届けてあげようと思って。
Though I thought I should deliver it to him myself.
She pulled a bank book, a signature stamp, and a cash card out of her bag. My eyes fixated on those items. I heard a faint voice inside my head. This is what he gained from all his tireless work. Just how much is in there? With that money, could I start all over?
体がボロボロになるまで働いて、結局あの人過労がたたって死んじゃったの。
He worked his body ragged, and in the end, he worked himself to death.
そんなに頑張らなくてもいいのよって伝えればよかったのに。私見て見ぬふりをしてた。
I wish I had told him not to work himself so hard, but I pretended not to see it.
あの人が稼いだお金で楽な暮らしをしながら、あの人が仕事にかまけて私との時間をないがしろにしていることを恨んでさえいた。
Even though he earned all that money to give me a carefree life, I resented him for not spending enough time with me.
私妻失格だったのね。
I wasn't fit to be his wife.
今から別の人と結婚してもう一度やり直せるんじゃないんですか。
From here on, couldn't you marry someone else and start over?
Huh?
Even though I knew I was speaking out of place, I couldn't help but say something. That's not something worth dying over, is it? Because that was enough money to keep on living without bothering anyone. I don't have anything, and there's nothing else I can do, so I chose to die. And yet why?
乙部君、そういうことは。
Otobe-kun, are you really saying?
いいえ、いいのよ。
No, it's alright.
私が愛していたのはあの人だけ。
He was the person I loved.
これからももう誰も愛するつもりはないし、
From now on, I'll never love anyone else.
死んであの世であの人のためだけに生きていきたいの。
He was my only reason to live.
今度は夫婦で手を握り合ってずっと寄り添っていたい。
Next time, I hope we can hold hands as husband and wife and stay together forever.
Chiaki-san interrupted Akutagawa-san to say all that. Chiaki-san was about to die with all that wealth. My heart was beating like mad when I listened to her story. To start over. With that money I could pay off my debts and start a new life. As I listened to Chiaki-san's story on the road to death, a feeling of hope started to emerge inside me.
それじゃあ今度は乙部君の話を聞こうか。
Well then, would you like to share your story next, Otobe-kun?
はい。
Oh, sure.
Before I realized it, it was my turn to share my story. But now my heart was bursting with hope. I no longer had a reason for wanting to die. I wasn't sure exactly how much she had, but with all the wealth Chiaki-san had right there, with that money I could start over. Yes, I don't want to die. 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 Not when I still have a chance. My selfish desire to live. My pathetic, ridiculous desire to see another day. Haunted by those thoughts, I struggled to force a smile and painfully bit down on my tongue.
無理に話すことないわ。
I won't force you to say it.
もうおしまいにしましょうよ。
Let's stop this for now.
乙部くん、もう大丈夫よ。
It's okay, Otobe-kun.
全部もうすぐ終わるから。
It'll all be over soon.
ようやく苦しみから解放されるの。
We'll finally be released from our suffering.
はい。
Yeah.
That was all I could say. I still didn't want to die. I wasn't so attached to living until just now.
それじゃあ
Alright, everyone.
あっちで会おう。
Let's meet again on the other side.
さようなら。
Goodbye.
芥川さん、乙部くん、まちちゃん、
Akutagawa-san. Otobe-kun. Machi-chan.
短い間だったけどありがとう。
Our time together was short, but thank you.
さよなら。
Goodbye.
That's right, I can start over. I can start everything over. I can still do it. The sunset stained the sky a deep red. I could hear the cry of the Higurashi coming through the door. Machi-chan said she was glad it was sunny. Chiaki-san said this was the perfect place to die. Akutagawa-san said we'll meet on the other side. Seriously, sure it's nice weather, but what's so great about that? It's a vacant area with any people without any people nearby. It's probably the worst place to die. Meet on the other side is still too soon for me. And so after everyone fell asleep, I climbed out of the car alone. Outside, the sun shined down in thick gray clouds in the sky, and in no time the surrounding area was covered in darkness. Impossible to tell right from left. But all I could think about was tightly holding the property I took from Chiaki-san as I ran down the pitch-black mountain road.
でも車を出てすぐに雨が降ってきて道がぬかるんで何度も転んで
But it started to rain as soon as I left the car. The road was muddy, and I stumbled over and over.
そして真っ暗闇を駆け回っているうちに道に迷ってしまったんです。
Then, as I ran around in total darkness, I lost my way.
I glanced at my watch. It was 2 a.m. 5 men and women gathered together in this assembly hall with a broken light bulb. One of them surrounded by the remaining 4, as if to condemn him for his stupid mistakes.
それで走っているうちに木の根っこか何かにつまずいて崖から転がり落ちて私と会ったってわけかい。
So you kept running, and you stumbled on a tree root or something. Tumbled down a hill, and that was how you ended up meeting me. He really should have been honest with her. I think she would have let him have it, honestly. He really should have just been honest with her.
そうです。
That's right.
それじゃあ車が消えて友達とはぐれたっていうのは嘘なのね。
So, you made out that story about the car with your friends disappearing.
はい。
Yes.
すみません。ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
あの自殺者たちは全員お前の知り合いってことか。
So you knew all the people who commit suicide.
はい。
Right.
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
なんてこった。
What the hell?
借金がかさみ安易に自殺を選んだ。
With those debts piling up, suicide seemed like an easy choice.
しかも仲間の通帳を持って逃げた。
But you took your friend's bankbook and ran. Sonozaki-san stood up. Then she donned a more heart's expression than she had worn until now and spoke up.
まったくもって不甲斐ない。
How utterly spineless.
最低だね、あんた。
You're disgusting.
すみませんでした。
I said I'm sorry.
Otobe fell down on his face on the spot, with his shoulders trembling. In that moment, all the tears starting across his face spilled down onto the floor.
ごめんなさい。本当にごめんなさい。
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
待てよ。
Wait.
それじゃ黒沢をさらったのもこいつが。
Does that mean you're also the one who kidnapped Kurosawa?
I too looked down at Otobe with disgust, but as soon as he realized the meaning of my words, he fiercely looked up with his face still littered in tears.
僕は知りません。
Exactly. Why would he have done that, Arakawa?
I don't know anything about that.
黒沢さんのことは何も。
I know nothing about Kurosawa-san.
バカかお前。そんなこと信じられるか。
You idiot. Do you expect us to believe that?
平気で嘘をついたり死人の金を盗んだりするような奴の言うことなんて信用できるかよ。
You robbed the dead and you've been lying to us this whole time. How can we believe anything you have to say?
でも僕は本当に知らないんです。
But I really don't know anything.
ミオンさん、信じてください。
Mion-san, please believe me!
僕は本当に何も。
Honestly, I don't know anything!
Oh my god, apparition. You could say her card was Oni Cash Kashid. Oh my god. What did I start? Oh my god.
ああ、わかってるよ、それくらい。
Yeah, I already know that much.
あんたみたいな弱虫に生きている人間を捕まえて殺して隠すなんてゲートできるわけがない。
There's no way a weakling like you could successfully catch a living person, kill them, and hide the evidence.
ですね。
Indeed. Miyuki-chan clearly agreed with Sonozaki-san. Why? How could the two of them be so sure of that? Seriously, Arakawa, you are like the odd man out of this whole story. I agree that they're being a bit harsh. I do agree, Jess. They are really being a bit harsh. It was a victimless crime, and I think though Japanese culture has a whole different thing about, like the sacredness of the dead and things like that. He was beyond desperate, and nobody was a victim of this crime. Really. I do agree, Jess. They are being way too harsh on him. Honestly, Otobe could have easily made up a story about how she just gave him the money. Honestly, but Otobe wasn't thinking straight. I guess he just wanted to be honest at this point. But and there's no way they could have known otherwise. He could have easily made up a story that he told them this story, and she gave him the money, and there's no way anyone could have known any different. But he probably wanted to be honest. How can the two of them be so sure of that? What makes them so confident? Miyuki-chan was gazing straight at Tawada-san. Her expression made it look like she was silently questioning her. And that, damn, what a chapter this was! What a chapter this was!
十和田さん。
Yep, there's no new tips anymore. But damn, what a chapter this was. I loved this chapter. Wow. This saved freaking Yoigoshi for me. Damn, this was awesome. Exactly, Jess. Logic is what is making them competent. But Arakawa just seems so incredibly vindictive. Like, his personality, seriously. Like, he just has this, I imagine Arakawa is clearly suffering from Hinamizawa syndrome. My God, can I just say, this saved Yoigoshi for me. This and the badass Yakuza fight at the end, because of last stream. I was about to be really disappointed in this console arc, but damn. Wow. Okay, so something next time. The next chapter I'm looking right now at a list of chapters of Yoigoshi. Is ridiculously long. I don't know why it's not broken up, but next time we're going to end in the middle of a chapter. And the time after that, we're going to do that chapter and the one after, which is shorter for some reason. The music was good too. Yeah, the music was great. So, damn, I am now looking really forward to the next part of Yoigoshi. All right. Let's see what's going to happen. Honestly, I know it's wrong, quote unquote, but I just want them to let Otobe have the money, because seriously, what is he going to do? He's going to go and kill himself again, without it. I would honestly just let him have the money. Like, what? Like, he's clearly learned his lesson. No one is hurt by him taking that money. And he is just absolutely miserable. He's clearly learned his lesson. Clearly. Honestly, I hope they work out with something with Otobe. So, tomorrow is more Fata Morgana. And in 2 days, we're continuing with Yoigoshi. Oh, thanks, Apparition. You posted the music link. Awesome. So yeah, if you want to check out that cool music from last time, it's on our Discord. Yeah, everybody does it in Skyrim, Void Dweller. Like, that's how you get most of your loot. You rob, like the dead in Skyrim. Oh, wow. There's a shamisen version, too. That's amazing, Jazz. Okay, so until next time, I would say I had a lovely time tonight. Despite, the depressing content of the story itself this time, I thought it was extremely engaging. And I had a lovely time chatting with y'all. So until next time, I will say so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. Y'all are the sweetest of hearts. See ya.